do you believe an independent Tigray is viable?
Yeah, I believe Tigray is viable for statehood. I have 4 reasons. The first reason is a historical reason. Tigray is one of the oldest civilizations in the world, endowed with all civilization in its form. The only literate civilization. Tigray is the home of those religious sects, the 3: Judaism, Christian, and Muslim. Tigray has been defending its territorial integrity through a continuous armed resistance from international aggressions as well as internal oppression. So Tigray is home of civilization. There are historical reasons for Tigray to be a state. You know, Tigray has been degenerating from the empire state of Aksum into a region in today's Ethiopia. Tigray was an empire state, one of the oldest civilization. Even during the time of Johannes Tigray, I can say Tigray was a nation state during the time of colonialism. So there are solid historical reasons that Tigray could be a state. The other one is Tigray has a huge experience of self-administration and self-rule, even during the time of war. During the 17 years armed resistance, Tigray was the only political entity in the Horn of Africa with its own political establishment, whether it's democratic and undemocratic, feudalism or Marxism. Tigray is the home of the political center. And Tigray is the only entity in the Horn of Africa that survives colonialism and other forms of political change. You know, the regions in Ethiopia were simply the creations of the Federal Democratic Republic Constitution. Eritrea was created by colonialism. And Tigray has been the only region that survives colonialism and post-colonial political dynamics. So Tigray has a historical reason and experience of self-administration and self-rule. The other one is why Tigray is visible for statehood is it's a failed project of Ethiopia's nation building is a reason for Tigray to be a state. You know, TPLF had stated that Tigray's question can be addressed within the framework of federal multinational state. But after 27 years of a federal experiment, Ethiopia's nation building project has failed. And it becomes a liability for Ethiopia, for Tigray. And Tigray becomes a victim of the federal establishment. Tigray becomes a victim of the assimilation policy. So Tigray's question cannot be addressed within the framework of Greater Ethiopia. The other reason is, you know, Ethiopia and Eritrea, they committed genocide against Tigray. And one of the reasons for self-determination in international practice is if the state fails to protect its citizens, if the state fails to provide democratic and security goods to its citizens, the people who consider themselves as oppressed have the right to self-determination. Now Tigray is facing genocide. And genocide is simply an automatic reason for a statehood. That means a genocidal regime in Ethiopia makes Tigray stateless. Tigray is facing the genocidal atrocities. So we have no reason to stay within a genocidal state, a genocidal regime of Ethiopia. Because it is not only Abiy Ahmed that wages the genocide war against Tigray. The religious institutions, the institutions in Ethiopia, the House of Federation, the National Defense, and prominent individuals, scholars, they were supporting the genocide war against Tigray. So there is no reason for a Tigrayan to live under the Ethiopian state. So genocide could be the third reason for the statehood of Tigray. The fourth reason is new interests are emerging in Tigray. This interest could be the interest to reclaiming Tigray's glorious past. Tigray should reclaim its glorious past for 2 reasons. In the first place, in order to search its history, its civilization, in order to develop its political and cultural values and sell to international community. The other one is in order to defend itself from regional and international aggressions. So the new vision of Tigray is everyone is happy to see a new state of Tigray because the international order is an order of states, not order of peoples. That's why Tigray becomes a victim. Tigray was happy to be part of Ethiopia, but unfortunately Tigray becomes a victim of this federal establishment as well as the unitary establishment. Now it is time for the Tigrayans to think that there must be a new development. That new development could be, we have already tested that. Federal Ethiopia, a unitary Ethiopia, but it failed. Now, the only way out we have is to have a referendum and to establish a state of Tigray. And Tigray is the core of civilization, and it has historical reasons, political reasons, security reasons, as well as a new aspiration of Tigray are sufficient precondition for statehood. So Tigray is a viable for statehood.